Sunday, October 17, 2021, the 29th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The Gospel today narrates an incident on Jesus' final journey to Jerusalem. The mother of John and James requests for her sons the right and left chairs of Jesus when he becomes king. The brothers were probably leveraging their claim for the two chairs by their mother's recommendation. The context of this journey is significant. Jesus has been accepted as an extraordinary rabbi throughout all of Galilee. Now, he is on a journey. No, on a pilgrimage to be exact, of nearly 200 kilometers to Jerusalem. They are going for the Passover festival, as was the annual custom. This time around, many people are going together because of Jesus' popularity. In the mind of the disciples, Jesus was going to Jerusalem to restore the kingdom of David, which required defeating both Pilate and Herod. In the meantime, Jesus was agonizing over his impending torture and crucifixion. Unaware of what is bothering the mind of the Master, a mother is asking for favors for her sons. She was probably one among the multitude that followed Jesus. It is not a simple matter of insensitivity. It has more to do with the values of the kingdom of God that Jesus envisioned. The indignant reaction of the other disciples indicates that they were also aspiring for such positions. The question leads to a discussion about power. Last Sunday, we listened to Jesus talk about possessions, another preoccupation of the disciples. Psychologists say that the desire for power, possessions, and pleasure are three deep-seated drives of human nature. The disciples need not be blamed for their natural inclinations. They are warning signs for us too. What kind of subtle games our mind plays on us to achieve power. Religious nuns, priests, and some lay people in the church take 3 vows to sublimate these 3 deep-seated drives. Against bodily pleasure is the vow of chastity. Against power is the vow of obedience. Against possessions is the vow of poverty. Unfortunately, these vows could sometimes create sterile, fruitless, rigid, and miserable discipleship. This happens when the natural drives are forcefully repressed. The principle that Jesus sets forth is one of sublimation. The antidote for the craze for power is not to renounce positions of power, but instead to use positions of power for service and sacrificial love. Sublimation of the basic human or animal instinct of self-assertion to acts of service and sacrifice. The antidote for the pleasure-seeking drive is to develop altruistic, generous love towards all. Many religious men and women take care of the old, the sick, the abandoned, and the invalid. It is to these, the forgotten and neglected of society, to whom this sublimated love is poured out. The antidote for the drive of possessiveness is a generous offering of whatever they own to others. The religious vow of poverty does not mean to convert oneself into a miserable person. Instead, it means finding the inner potential for generosity to take care of the needs of others before one's own. How many thousands of houses are built? How many poor people are fed, clothed, and sheltered through the channeling of many resources of these consecrated men and women? So, the Master's invitation is not to negate or block the natural human drives, but rather to sublimate them for nobler causes. The advice of Jesus is not just an offhanded wise remark, but something that he has established as a value in himself. If you remember the temptations of Christ, they were surrounding these 3 basic human drives: The temptation for food was the drive for pleasure. The temptation to jump from the temple top was to establish power. The temptation to receive all the kingdoms of the world was the drive for possession. The Master has overcome these temptations and is now promoting the values that he has been practicing. Every person on earth is born with an authority that entails certain rights. This gospel passage reminds us to use the authority invested in us, as parents, as teachers, as children, as students, as clergy, as an act of service. Exercising authority with power and force is a sign of an unreflecting self. The Master's invitation to exercise authority as a service by sublimating the drive for power, by moving from self to sacrifice.